Just picture the scene in your head. After 10 miraculous makkahs, 10 miraculous plagues that Hashem sent to the Egyptians, the Yidden are finally on their way out. They are leaving Mitzrayim, the place in which they were slaves to for over 210 years. The emotions were high. They left with riches, they left with gold, silver, diamonds, cattle, you name it, they left with everything. What could possibly go wrong? As they're about to leave Mitzrayim, Hashem tells Moshe, we're going to take the long way to Eretz Yisrael. We're not doing the short and easy path. The Yidden are a little bit confused, but they go along with it. But soon enough, they end up face to face with the ocean, with the Yam Suf. And the Yidden start to get a little bit more confused what they're doing in front of a river with no path through it. And then Parei changes his mind. The next thing you know it, Mitzrayim is chasing into the Yidden. The Yidden are cornered in, with Mitzrayim chasing them on one side, a raging ocean on the other side, and all of a sudden, the Yidden are in absolute panic mode. The Medrash tells us that at that point, the Yidden divided into 4 groups on how they wanted to deal with the situation. One of them said, let's surrender and go back to Mitzrayim. The other group said, forget it, we're not going back to Mitzrayim, we're going to die anyway, so let's jump in the ocean and kill ourselves, commit suicide. The other group, group number 3, said that no, fight for ourselves, wage war with Mitzrayim. And the other group said, no, let's daven to Hashem. But comes Moshe and tells the Yidden that none of these options are the correct course of action. And lo and behold, the rest is history. Nachshon Aminadav is the first one to jump in the ocean, not to commit suicide, but to trust in Hashem's directive to just keep going straight into the ocean. And then Hashem splits the sea, and Kriyas Yam Suf happens. And every year we recount this story. Not just in Parshas Beshalach, in which we read every year, but every year also on Shvi Shel Pesach. But the problem with this story is, how did the Yidden, who were a very unified people at the time of leaving Mitzrayim, divide into such 4 opposite, different mindsets of groups? One of them wanted to commit suicide, one of them wanted to surrender, one of them wanted to wage war and save ourselves, and one of them wanted to do nothing and daven to Hashem. Those are 4 very, very different courses of action, and how can that come out of such a unified people? Furthermore, their solutions weren't that bad. Fine, committing suicide isn't a good option. Surrendering to the Egyptians is also not a good option. But what's wrong with stopping to daven? What's wrong with fighting our own battle and winning it? The last 2 groups, the last 2 solutions didn't seem so wrong. So why did Moshe say no? Why did Hashem say no, that's not what we're going to do? But answers the Rebbe that the key to understanding this episode of Mitzrayim is understanding that this was not a one-time event. This is an event that happens at every single moment and junction of our lives. We all live through the challenges that Hashem throws at us. The challenges that bring us to get higher than ourselves, to go out of our physical limitations and boundaries. But it could be done through many different ways. There's the person who throws in the towel and says, it's too hard. I'm going back to Mitzrayim. I can't handle this. I'm failing the challenge. It's too bad. I can't do it. There's the person that commits spiritual suicide, so to speak. He jumps into his own spiritual sea of holiness while the rest of the world is falling apart, focusing only on himself. Both of those are clearly not good courses of action and were clearly and understandably rejected. However, then there's the people who come and say, we should fight. I want to fight with evil until I eradicate it from the world the way I want to do it. Fight with Mitzrayim. At first glance, this seems like the right course of action. It's very good. However, the problem with that is, it was not commanded by Hashem. If Hashem did not command you to go to war, that means the war isn't meant for you. Even if it might seem like to you it is, it's not, because Hashem knows the bigger picture. If Hashem commanded you to go into the ocean and trust Him, that doesn't mean stop and fight. And this also explains the 4th way. The people who want to sit and daven all day. That also doesn't work. Because Hashem asked you to do His avodah. He wants you to do His work. When Hashem commands you to go to war, you go to war. When Hashem commands you not to stop for the ocean, you don't stop for the ocean. You keep going. And therefore, even though the Yidden were very unified when they left Mitzrayim, they still had very different approaches to take a challenge. But comes Moshe and says none of those are the right course of action. The true way to take a challenge is to trust Hashem when Hashem says everything is going to be good for you. Don't go back and surrender. Don't go forward and kill yourself. Don't stay back and fight. Don't stay back and daven. Go forward. Trust Hashem. He's promising it's going to be good. It is going to be good. Because once we show Hashem that we'll listen to anything He says, no matter if we understand it or not, He will literally split the sea for us. He will literally open up a clear and open path straight into the Geula, straight into the coming of Mashiach. May He come speedily in our days. Wishing you a good Yom Tov.